Many women believe that making a man obsessed with them requires giving more attention, being more present, or working harder to hold his interest. But the psychology of obsession works in precisely the opposite direction. The male brain is wired to assign value to what it cannot fully possess or predict. The moment something feels completely certain, completely available, completely solved, the neurological engagement around it shifts. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 psychological triggers that create genuine mental fixation, not through manipulation or games, but through a deep understanding of how attraction and desire actually function in the brain. We're talking about using behavioral science to make your absence louder than your presence. And once you understand these principles, you'll never approach attraction the same way again. If you're ready to stop chasing and start being chosen, subscribe to Female Magnetism. This is where we translate the deeper science of human behavior into real feminine power. Hit the notification bell and let's get into it. Trigger number 1, the Zeigarnik Effect. In the 1920s, a psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik made a discovery that has since become one of the most referenced findings in behavioral psychology. She noticed that waiters in a busy restaurant could recall every detail of an order they were still processing. But the moment the bill was paid and the table cleared, the information essentially vanished from their memory. The brain, she found, holds open tasks in a kind of active mental queue, returning to them repeatedly until they're resolved. Completed things get filed away. Unfinished things stay live. The application to attraction is direct and powerful. When you reveal everything about yourself early, when every question gets a full answer, every story gets its ending, every layer gets exposed within the first few conversations, you close all the loops at once. His brain files you away as a known quantity. But when you leave things open, when you end a conversation at its highest point instead of running it into the ground, when you hint at something interesting about yourself without fully explaining it, when you let him sense that there are dimensions of you he hasn't reached yet, his brain keeps you in the active queue. He finds himself returning to you mentally, turning you over, trying to complete the picture. That mental return is the beginning of obsession. You don't create it by giving more. You create it by strategically giving less. Trigger number 2, intermittent reinforcement. This is one of the most potent and well-documented principles in behavioral psychology, and it operates on the same neurological mechanism as addiction. In study after study, researchers have found that unpredictable rewards generate far more persistent behavior than consistent ones. When a reward is guaranteed and reliable, the brain adapts to it quickly and stops producing the same level of dopamine in response. But when the reward is variable, when sometimes it comes and sometimes it doesn't, the brain's reward system goes into a heightened state of engagement. It keeps seeking, it keeps trying. It becomes, in the most literal neurological sense, hooked. In the context of attraction, this means that perfect, consistent predictability is the enemy of obsession. A woman who is always warm, always available, always equally engaged becomes a known and comfortable constant. She is appreciated but not pursued. The woman who is genuinely warm in one moment and genuinely occupied in the next, not cold, not withholding, but simply living a full and variable life, creates a very different neurological experience. He never quite knows what version of your attention he'll encounter, and that variability keeps his brain in a state of active seeking. The key is that this cannot be performed. It has to be real. The variability has to come from actually having a life full enough that your attention is naturally inconsistent. When it does, the dopamine response it generates in him is not something he can easily rationalize away. Trigger number 3, the investment gap. There is a principle in social psychology sometimes called effort justification, and it speaks to something deeply wired in human cognition. We assign value to things in proportion to what they cost us. not just financially, but in time, energy, thought, and effort. When something requires very little of us, we unconsciously categorize it as low value, regardless of its actual worth. When something requires genuine investment, our brain retroactively increases its perceived value to justify the effort we've already put in. This means that when you do everything for him, when you make yourself endlessly easy, when you remove every obstacle and solve every problem and anticipate every need, you are inadvertently signaling to his brain that you cost nothing. And things that cost nothing are not treasured. But when you allow him to invest in you, when you let him solve a small problem for you, when you create situations where he gets to show up and contribute, when you allow him to work even slightly for your time and attention, something shifts in how his brain categorizes you. The effort he has invested becomes evidence to his own mind that you must be worth that effort. He convinces himself of your value through the act of investing in you. Don't deprive him of the opportunity to do that. Trigger number 4, emotional anchoring. This trigger operates on the principle of associative memory, which is one of the most powerful and least conscious mechanisms in human psychology. We don't experience people in isolation. We experience them in connection with the emotional states they tend to produce in us. Over time, a person becomes an anchor for a particular emotional register. When you think of them, you feel something. And that feeling, more than any rational assessment, is what drives whether you want to move toward them or away from them. The most magnetic women understand this intuitively. They are not the source of his stress, they are the relief from it. Being around her doesn't feel like work or pressure or the need to manage someone else's emotions. It feels like exhaling. Like the volume of everything difficult getting turned down slightly, and then when she's not there, that particular quality of ease is absent. Not dramatically, not in a way that creates anxiety, but in the quiet, specific way that makes a person aware of what's missing. You want to anchor yourself to his best emotional states, to the moments of genuine pleasure, laughter, ease, and connection. And you want your absence to create not pain, but a particular kind of stillness that has your name on it. Trigger number 5, the pre-selection aura. This trigger is rooted in evolutionary psychology and social proof, and it operates almost entirely below the level of conscious awareness. Human beings assess value partly through the perceived assessments of others. When something or someone appears to be chosen, desired, or sought after by other people, our own valuation of them rises automatically. We don't decide to feel this. It happens before the rational mind has had a chance to weigh in. In the context of attraction, this means that a woman who appears to be living a full, vibrant, genuinely sought-after life creates a very different psychological experience than one who appears to be waiting. Not because she is performing desirability, but because she actually has one. When he can sense, without being told directly, that your life is rich and your time is genuinely in demand, when he understands through observation rather than announcement that you don't need him to be happy, because happy is already your baseline, something shifts in the urgency he feels around securing your attention. Scarcity creates value. And a woman who is clearly flourishing independently, who has the social warmth and life quality that suggests she is not sitting still waiting for anyone, creates a quiet urgency in the men around her that no amount of direct pursuit ever could. Obsession is not about what you do for him. It's about how he feels when he's away from you. A magnetic woman doesn't beg for space in a man's mind. She becomes the dominant thought through the architecture of mystery, variability, and genuine self-possession. These 5 triggers work not because they're tricks, but because they align with how desire actually functions in the human brain. When you stop working against that architecture and start working with it, everything shifts. Comment, "I am the prize" below if you're ready to change the dynamic completely. And in the next video, I'm going to show you the specific signs that these triggers are already working, the behavioral signals that mean his mind is exactly where you want it to be. See you there.